How would you compare the success of the nWo in its heyday to the Horsemen's run in their heyday? Who was more money? Who drew more money?
Well, different times.
We also had a lot of merchandising too at the
Right.
nWo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Different times.
Yeah.
Both of them, I would say, both of them would be just as successful. The only thing with the nWo, it was, I remember that we were shooting something in Chicago at, what studio was it? And the black leather coats and Eric it was, some people said this is the era of Nazism, which, brought back bad memories to people.
Right.
Other people, they, liked it, but that changed, but,
What are your thoughts on the end of WCW and WWE finally owning everything? How did you feel about when the company shut down?
I knew 3 years before.
You saw it coming?
I saw it coming. Again, I kept on saying, you're killing the golden goose. You're just killing it. You're killing it. You can't continue to spend this money. You look at everything was very secretive. All right, David, go buy an ambulance for $20,000, or we're going to blow a bus up or turn it over. And they tell you at the last minute, well, you can't negotiate. And it just was stupid.
What was the most ridiculous thing that you had to purchase on behalf of the company?
I guess the school bus, and blow that, and turn it over, and that was expensive. Well, you've got Sturgis, that was a good $1 million.
Right.
You have to build your own town there. I mean, you had to bring everything in. You didn't have hotels, you had motels.
Right.
Fun, as far as creativity, making it happen. But money-wise, it was. Remember Eric take me out in the middle of winter. I said, "You want to do what?"
You thought he was going to whack you, probably.
I said, "It's cold out here. Come on."
Talk about the final episode of Nitro. You made a speech to everyone before the show backstage. Talk about that speech and why you chose to speak about the end of the company that came from Crockett Promotions. What was that speech?
I just wanted to thank all those people that had been with me for so long, making Nitro the way it was, the lighting crew and the sound crew and the pyrotechnics, the 26 stage hands and people that would travel with us, and all those, and then the power companies, the uplink guys, and none of those people had contracts. Again, I went back to my dad's day, and Mike Sastrazemis with Show Logistics now, who is the #1 generator company in the United States for television.
Right.
When I met him, I gave him a handshake. I said, as long as you do a good job, you're here. When you don't, you're gone. And he said his bankers could really never understand that. But Mike, I made you a rich man, though.
What do you think of the wave of nostalgia for 1980s wrestling and the Crockett Promotions, specifically in the material being available on the WWE Network and the annual gatherings in Charlotte? Are you happy that?
Yes.
To this day?
I am.
Yeah.
Very happy. I'm happy for our fans. We could not have done anything without them. And how quickly we forget.
Why do you think your brother Jim has never really attended any of the gatherings and has given really few interviews since leaving the business? Do you think that he feels the fans still blame him?
He's embarrassed. Really?
Have you guys mended fences?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Life's too short.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Especially over the wrestling business.
And the people that try to stabbed me in the back at Turner. After years, Will Bird, I brought in as production manager because they said you can't do this, by yourself the whole time, and became good friends. And all of a sudden he said, Eric, it's either David or me. And Eric said, talk to me about it. And he said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'll put Steve Barrett in and I won't let him fail. So that's what I did. And Will and I didn't talk for years until I said, well, I'm driving over to Nashville and I want to get together. It's, again, life's too short.
What did you think of the Jim Crockett Promotions Good Old Days documentary? Did you watch it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Let everyone know what you and your brother are up to today and talk about the Crockett Foundation and what led to that being created.
My parents were involved with retarded citizens for quite a while, and then my niece was working with it, and somebody that had the money that we put in didn't work right, so she reworked it, and it's more working with military families and soldiers returning, and which I think is a good idea. I still think that those kids. I remember at Special Olympics in Charlotte, they told us after the first time, he said, we need to make a time when you come, because when your wrestlers come, everything stops. And the wrestlers love going out there because they just said, thank you, Lord. Yeah.
Do you watch the product today?
Very seldom.
What?
I there again, the frustration over the
scripted promos and
right,
all high spots.
the scripted matches.
There's no storytelling anymore. It's spot,
right.
spot.
Yeah, it's it's choreographed.
Yep.
Yeah, and
nobody calls it in the ring anymore either.
Yeah, I mean you lose the creativity's not there, the wrestler wise.
When you look back on your time and your family's time in the business, what do you think your legacy should be?
Golly, my legacy, I hope that people think that I gave them a good quality entertainment for the time we had it. That they enjoyed it. I know that while we had it, I would get letters saying my grandmother or grandfather died watching TV, and I know they died happy. And as long as the fans still remember it and come to these reunions, that's eventually those fans will, I just wish that maybe someday that some young people out there would study, the Ric Flairs, the Four Horsemen, and be able to adapt in some way.
Any personal regrets when it comes to the business?
I'd wish I'd been able to buy the company several times. I wish that, yeah. But
would you want to see the Crockett family be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
I'd like to see my father. He and Vince Sr. were good friends. The family, no. I think my father, just like Vince Sr., they did a lot for wrestling, business.
Any favorite road stories you want to share? Any favorite ribs?
John Valentine. If you go at WRL TV, if we had these buffets, and sometimes you had this Salisbury steak and this gravy, And if he went through the line before you, you did not go in, because he would, I hate to say this, shit in a cup. And then somehow he would get it and cover it with gravy. And
Any of the boys fell for it?
oh,
Yeah,
yes.
fall for it.
Yes.
Oh.
Golly, the oil of mustard in their tights, before they go out to wrestle, and all of a sudden, their testicles and rear ends are totally on fire. Then Gene Anderson, he had this ability to just 2 little fingers pinch, and he would be selling like he's dying, but the baby face is screaming because he is just, it's like a vice grip on him.
Favorite night in the business?
Favorite night? I want to say the dual telecast from Greensboro and Atlanta, even though I didn't particularly care for it, directing that, because I really felt I was in charge in doing it. I'd say, Dusty, Jimmy, calm down, everything will be fine. Because they lost audio there for some reason.
Right.
And I said, we're fine. You can't hear us, but we're fine. We will get you back. It's just,
If you weren't in the wrestling business, what do you think you'd be doing?
I hope that I would have taken Tom Dooley's advice and gone to work for NFL Films.
Is there any final words for anyone out there that you want to say to your fans?
Vince, if you watch this, congratulations. You can write the history. I'm glad that a wrestling person was able to do it. Really, instead of a network.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.